In this tutorial, we're going to review the present tense of regular verbs in Spanish. We're going to start reviewing the three fundamental parts of the Spanish verbs. First, the infinitive form. The infinitive form is the basic part of the verb when the verb is not conjugated. This corresponds to the English to do something. For example, to speak, to work, to sing, to practice, to eat, to run, etc. The Spanish infinitive form always ends with R. For instance, hablar, comer, escribir, comprar, aprender, creer, salir, conocer, costar, correr, finalizar, freír. Second, the ending, the last two letters of the infinitive form of the verb. When we are going to conjugate the verb, we have to drop the ending. For instance, in the verb hablar, we drop the ending AR. Comer, escribir, and so on. Those are the endings that we have to drop when we're going to conjugate the verb. In Spanish, we have three sets of verbs, or three categories. We have AR endings, the first group. We have verbs that end with ER, and the third group, we have verbs that end with IR. And third, the stem or the root. So after we drop the ending, whatever is left, that is the stem or the root of the verb. So the infinitive form of the verb minus the ending equals the stem or the root. So in this case, this is ready to start the conjugation of the verb. So let's make a quick review. Don't forget the three fundamental parts of the verb. The infinitive form is the basic unconjugated verb. Second, the ending, the last two letters of the infinitive form of the verb. And third, the stem or the root, whatever is left after you drop the ending. Let's conjugate. So what is a conjugation? Is to put a verb in its correct person and number so that we will know who is doing the action of the verb. When we conjugate any verb, we always begin with its stem. Let's start with the first group or the first category, AR verbs. Here are some examples. Hablar, ayudar, bailar, buscar, caminar, comprar, conversar, enseñar, escuchar, estudiar, llegar, mirar, nadar, necesitar, preparar, regresar, tomar, trabajar y viajar. Let's choose hablar. To start the conjugation of the hablar, we will start with all of the persons and numbers are based on the stem. So we drop the ending. And then we're going to use the subject pronouns. So we will start with the first subject pronoun, yo. The ending for the subject pronoun, the first subject pronoun is O. Yo hablo. Tú hablas. Él, ella, usted habla. Nosotros, nosotras hablamos. Vosotros, vosotras habláis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes hablan. So let's see which vowels get the emphasis. What is the stress when we conjugate the verb? Yo hablo, tú hablas, él, ella, usted habla, nosotros, nosotras hablamos, vosotros, vosotras habláis, ellos, ellas, ustedes hablan. Let's get another verb. Another example. Trabajar. Same. We drop the ending and we work with the stem. The subject pronouns. The endings. Yo, trabajo, trabajas, trabaja, trabajamos, trabajáis, trabajan. So, as you can see, we use the same endings as the previous verb. What is the emphasis? Trabajo, trabajas, trabaja, trabajamos, trabajáis, trabajan. Let's review the second group. ER and then IR verbs. Quick review of those fundamental parts of the verbs. First, the infinitive form of the verb. Second, the ending, the last two letters of the infinitive form of the verb. And third, after we drop the ending, what is left is the stem. So let's start with the second group, ER verbs. Some examples of those are aprender, beber, comer, creer, leer, vender. Let's use this verb, beber. Drop the ending, what is left is the stem. The subject pronouns and the endings to conjugate the verb, to know who is doing the action of the verb. In the yo form, bebo, bebes, bebe, bebemos, bebéis, beben. Let's review what is the emphasis. Bebo, bebes, bebe, bebemos, bebéis, beben. Let's see another example. Comer. Drop the ending. What is left is the stem. Subject pronouns and the corresponding ending to know who is doing the action of the verb. That is a conjugation of the verb. O, es, he, hemos, eis, en. What is the emphasis? Yo como, tú comes, usted, él, ella come, nosotros, nosotras comemos, vosotros, vosotras coméis, ustedes, ellos, ellas comen. The third group, IR verbs. Some examples: abrir, asistir a, decidir, escribir, recibir, vivir. Let's use abrir, to open. Drop the ending, it's a stem, subject pronouns, and the corresponding ending. Yo abro, abres, abre, abrimos, abrís, abren. What is the emphasis? Yo abro, tú abres, él, ella, usted abre, nosotros, nosotras abrimos, vosotros, vosotras abrís, ustedes, ellos, ellas abren. We are going to note that the IR verbs are conjugated just like ER verbs, except for nosotros, nosotras, and vosotras form. Another example, decidir, the stem, subject pronouns, and the endings. O, es, hemos, is, en. What is this? Emphasize. Yo decido. Tú decides. Él, ella, usted decide. Nosotros, nosotras decidimos. Vosotros, vosotras decidís. Ustedes, ellos, ellas deciden. Let's review some usage of those verbs in the present tense and the equivalent in English. As in English, it can express present or habitual actions. For example, estudiamos español en la universidad. But unlike English, it can also express ongoing actions. En este momento, estudiamos en la biblioteca. In this case, English can use present progressives. The verb to be plus ing. The ing is the present participle of the main verb. Another use in Spanish, the present indicative, it can even express a future actions. Esta noche estudiamos para el examen. In English we use the future. Let's review what happened when we are talking in people and we are referring in the conversation. For instance, if we are asking a question to a person, we are using the opposite form of the conjugation of the verb. If you ask the question, ¿qué estudias? You are using the second conjugation of the verb in the to form. When you answer that question, you use the first conjugation of the verb. Estudio matemáticas. But if the conversation between two people are talking about someone outside the conversation, the verb will not change because we are talking about a third person. Thank you for your attention.